me is Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Todd, you just heard Jorge Ventura say that they're stopping vehicles, they're asking for IDs if they're affiliated with ICE. Isn't that actively impeding another civil liberties for free association?
Yes, and this is exactly the problem. As he said, and I'm sure it's true, not a local cop in sight. And again, this is what's happening all over Minneapolis. You have this effort by local leadership to just say, we don't care, we're going to let all this happen, and we don't care if ICE officers have their fingers bit off. We don't care if there's protests going on that are actually turned into riots. We don't care about that. And it's horrible, and we've been pounding the pavement. Don't do this. President Trump said, he talked to the governor, he talked to the mayor, please change your tactics. And we really need them to do that, or we're not going to fix this problem.
Now, these left-wing groups that have formed a kind of unholy alliance, a lot of them have different goals, but they formed an alliance to work together here, to drive ICE out, to change the narrative, to make Trump look bad and you guys look bad. Is there any progress with untangling that funding and exposing it and perhaps prosecuting?
We do have progress, and we have several ongoing investigations. And remember what was happening in December, Laura. We had a massive fraud going on all through Minneapolis, all through Minnesota, and suddenly it turned. It turned almost on a dime, and it became suddenly all about ICE, all about getting ICE out and how horrible ICE was doing. But really what we have here is a massive underground fraud network operating in Minneapolis, and we had a very strong pushback when we raised our hands and said stop. And so, yes, we have multiple investigations going on. We sent prosecutors from Maine Justice. We sent prosecutors from other U.S. attorneys' offices all over the country, and we're making progress every day.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many people who watch this show every night saying, what about the money? This money has got to be exposed, the money trail, especially if it's coming from China or elsewhere. There's one individual who's been linked to this in various news reports. People want results here, sir.
Yes, and so do I, and so does the Attorney General, and so does President Trump. And look, financial investigations are to take time. It's not something we're going to do overnight. But you're right. You're right. It's not just coincidence that these massive numbers of protesters and rioters and agitators show up at the same time, and they're pushing back on what has been a profit center for fraudsters.
Well, it's happening in L.A. It's happening. We saw crowds, mostly peaceful in New York, but they want this virus to spread nationwide. I want to turn to the Epstein files. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that names of dozens of victims were left unredacted. These are reportedly women who were minors at the time or haven't come out publicly yet. I know there was an attempt to rigorously go through these documents, redact what was needed to be redacted. How did those names slip through?
Yeah, look, you're right. I mean, there mistakes were made by, you have really hardworking lawyers that work for the past 60 days. Think about this, though. You're talking about pieces of paper that stack from the ground to 2 Eiffel Towers. And so the minute that a victim or their lawyer reached out to us since Friday, we immediately dealt with it and pulled it down, and we're continuing to do that. We knew that there would be mistakes. We put that, I said that to the American people on Friday. Everything we did was protect victims, and that's the case today, just like it was on Friday. And what we're talking about, by the way, is 0.002% of
But it matters to them, right? I mean,
it should matter to them. It matters to me, too. Absolutely, absolutely.
Raskin is out there constantly saying you guys haven't spoken to any of these victims. Is that true?
It's a lie. It's a lie. I communicated with the victim through their counsel as recently as last week. We have talked to victims for years and years and years. Anytime a victim wants to reach out, either themselves or through their lawyer, we immediately respond to them. That's what the Attorney General does. That's what Director Patel has done. That's what I do. So that is, it's so incredibly dishonest to the American people to have that narrative out there. And I get it. They need to have a narrative because the other narrative doesn't work.
Raskin is about as reliable as some of the people we saw on camera at the rallies. Is there any chance that any of these individuals who partied with Epstein and engaged in relations with minors will be prosecuted?
Well,
Any chance?
I'll never say no, and we will always investigate any evidence of misconduct. But as you know, it is not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein. And so as horrible as it's not a crime to email with Mr. Epstein. And some of these men may have done horrible things. And if we have evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But it's also the kind of thing that the American people need to understand that it isn't a crime to party with Mr. Epstein. It isn't a crime to have
Didn't look
lunch on
like
his
that's
island.
all that was going on some of those photos. I mean, if the photos could speak, some of them look pretty bad.
That's right. And unfortunately, photos can't speak. And so we need witnesses and we need
Are there
evidence.
videotapes that you all have? Or?
They're all released. They're all released. There were some
Beyond the ones
not of any of any individuals, men having improper, sex or anything with victims, but there's videos. They're all released for everybody to see.
The New York Times is also reporting that DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, brokered a call between President Trump and some of the FBI agents who are conducting the Georgia election investigation. What can you tell us about that? I know you were asked about why she was at that raid where they, you guys took the documents from Fulton County. What can you tell us about that?
So this is an FBI investigation, and it's a grand jury investigation, and because of that, there's not a lot we can talk about. I've read the same article you read about a conversation. The president talks to law enforcement all week long, and so the fact that he talked with agents that are working hard doesn't surprise me, and actually, I love it. It's great.
Did you ever find out why she was at the? And everyone knows I love Tulsi Gabbard, but why was she at that particular raid?
No, I mean, first of all, she wasn't at the search. She was in the area where the search took place. She is not part of this investigation. Okay. She hasn't said that. But on the other hand, she's an expert in this space, and the president trusts her and expects her to be part of the team investigating election integrity. Well,
we're all wondering if people are wondering about foreign influence in elections, and Democrats said they were very worried about it, and Republicans say they're worried about it. Right. So that's one of the things we're thinking about. Thank you very much for coming in. And on Instagram, we have an extra special little video, but we taped before the show. All right. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.